She's walking the biggest red carpets in Hollywood, alone. No hand-holding. No couple photos. No Nick in sight. And for fans who've been watching Nicolandria since Love Island USA, that silence has been louder than any breakup announcement. Rumors started flying fast, some saying they quietly split, others claiming this was all calculated. But when Olandria finally addressed why Nick doesn't show up beside her, the explanation wasn't what anyone expected. And the deeper you look, the more it feels like there's a bigger strategy at play, one that could either save their relationship or slowly pull it apart. Nicolandria didn't become a fan obsession by accident. From the moment Olandria and Nic connected on Love Island USA Season 7, viewers locked in hard. They weren't the loudest couple. They weren't constantly chasing screen time. But their chemistry felt real, and that authenticity is what made fans ride for them long after the finale aired. Even though they didn't take home the win, many people walked away feeling like they were the real success story of the season. But with that love came pressure, way more than either of them expected. Overnight, their relationship turned into a brand. Every post was analyzed. Every appearance sparked theories. Fans weren't just watching them anymore, they were monitoring them. And early on, Olandria and Nic leaned into it, embracing the Nicolandria label because it felt natural at the time. Still, as the attention grew louder, it became clear that being adored by millions can be just as overwhelming as being criticized. And that's when things quietly began to shift. Because fame doesn't just change how people see you, it changes how you show up together. The first real questions didn't come from interviews or headlines, they came from absences. Fans started noticing that Olandria was showing up to major events on her own. Red carpets, industry mixers, high-profile appearances. And Nic was nowhere to be seen. At first, people brushed it off. Scheduling conflicts happen. Life gets busy. But when those solo moments kept stacking up, curiosity turned into concern. Online, the tone shifted fast. Comment sections filled with the same question asked 100 different ways. Where's Nic? Some fans said it was a quiet breakup no one wanted to admit yet. Others claimed it had to be intentional, a move to protect something behind the scenes. In celebrity culture, showing up together is seen as proof everything's fine. So when that proof disappears, people assume the worst. And by the time Olandria stepped onto the Golden Globe's red carpet alone, the rumors weren't whispers anymore, they were impossible to ignore. And that night would finally force Olandria to address what was really going on. The Golden Globe's 2026 red carpet wasn't just another appearance for Olandria, it became a moment of clarity. With rumors swirling non-stop, she was finally asked the question everyone had been dancing around. Were she and Nic still together, or was Nicolandria already a thing of the past? Instead of dodging it, Olandria answered in a way that caught people off guard. She explained that early on, they were fully leaning into the Nicolandria identity. It was exciting, it was fun, and it felt right in the moment. But over time, they realized how easy it was to lose themselves inside the couple image. So they made a deliberate choice to step back, focus on their own careers, and rebuild their identities as individuals, not just as half of a fan-favorite duo. According to her, that balance is exactly why their relationship has stayed strong. For some fans, it sounded mature. For others, it felt like a carefully worded response. Because in a world where celebrity couples are expected to move as a unit, choosing separation, even strategically, can look a lot like distance. And that's why not everyone was convinced this explanation told the full story. Behind the polished explanation was something fans rarely like to hear, that not everything is meant to be shared. Olandria hinted that the pressure to constantly appear as a couple almost started to outweigh the relationship itself. When every move becomes content and every appearance feels performative, the connection can start to feel less personal and more like a job. So stepping back wasn't about pulling away from each other. It was about protecting what they had. There's also the reality of timing. Both of their careers took off quickly after the show, and chasing opportunities doesn't always mean moving in sync. Instead of forcing Nic into spaces where he didn't naturally fit, they chose to let each other grow separately. It's a move that goes against what fans usually expect, especially in the Love Island universe where couples are treated like permanent packages. But sometimes, distance isn't a red flag, it's a boundary. Still, no matter how carefully it was explained, one question kept lingering. If everything was fine, why did Nic feel the need to say something at all? That question was answered in the most unexpected way possible. Weeks before the Golden Globes, Nic found himself in a moment no PR team could have scripted. While visiting Kim Kardashian during a holiday-themed photo shoot, she casually set up a call with her daughter, Northwest, who just so happened to be a huge Love Island USA fan. And almost immediately, North asked what millions of viewers had been wondering the entire time. No build-up. No soft launch. Just a straight-up, "Did you break up with Olandria?" Nic didn't hesitate. He shut it down instantly, saying they were still together and dropping the phrase that sent fans into a spiral, Nicolandria 4L. The clip spread fast, not because it was dramatic, but because it felt real. Unfiltered. Almost too casual to be damage control. For a moment, it seemed like that should have ended the speculation right there. But instead of closing the conversation, it opened a new one. Because if everything was solid, why were fans still feeling like something was missing? Even after Nic's response, the doubts didn't disappear. And that says more about fan culture than about Nicolandria themselves. Viewers are used to constant reassurance. Joint interviews. Coordinated outfits. Subtle touches caught by cameras. When those moments stop, people don't hear privacy, they hear problems. So Nic saying the right thing once wasn't enough to quiet an audience trained to expect visual proof. Social media only made it worse. Every solo post from Olandria turned into a microscope moment. Every absence from Nic was treated like a statement. Some fans began speculating that they were slowly being phased out as a couple, while others insisted this was a soft rebrand to keep individual fame intact. None of it was confirmed, but the theories kept stacking up because silence creates space for assumptions. And what really fueled those assumptions was what was happening around them. Because while Nicolandria was choosing distance and discretion, other Love Island couples were taking very different paths. Love Island USA Season 7 didn't exactly leave a long list of success stories. One by one, couples that fans once swore were endgame quietly unraveled. Even the winners, who many assumed were untouchable, eventually went their separate ways. Other pairs followed, confirming what long-time viewers already know. Leaving the villa is often harder than surviving it. That's what made Nicolandria stand out. While others announced splits or moved on publicly, Olandria and Nic remained technically intact, even as they pulled back from the spotlight together. As of early 2026, they were still one of only 2 couples from the season who hadn't officially called it quits. To some fans, that was proof their approach was working. To others, it felt like they were just delaying the inevitable. And then there was the comparison factor. Watching former Islanders move on quickly, sometimes with new partners already in the picture, only made Nicolandria's quiet strategy feel more unusual. Especially when one unexpected twist completely shifted the conversation. That twist came from someone no one was watching anymore. After her own breakup faded from the headlines, Iris surprised fans by stepping out with TJ Palmer. There was no long build-up, no mystery rollout, just a sudden confirmation that she had moved on. And almost instantly, the reaction was split. Some people praised the honesty. Others questioned how fast everything seemed to happen. But what really caught attention was the contrast. Iris leaned into visibility, while Nicolandria leaned into silence. One approach fed the algorithm. The other resisted it. And in a space where Love Island couples are expected to either perform happiness or publicly unravel, choosing neither can feel confusing. Fans weren't just reacting to Iris moving on, they were subconsciously measuring Nicolandria against it. That comparison made Olandria and Nic's decision look even more intentional. Less reactive. More controlled. But control can also be misread as distance. And that raises the biggest question of all. What's really happening behind the scenes? When you pull back and look at the bigger picture, Nicolandria's situation feels less like a mystery and more like a test. Fame moves fast, and relationships born on reality TV are rarely built for that speed. Olandria and Nic seem to be pushing against the usual formula, choosing growth over constant validation and privacy over performance. That doesn't mean everything is perfect. It just means they're handling it differently than most couples in their position. There's been plenty of online buzz suggesting hidden tension or a slow fade, but so far, none of that has been confirmed. What has been consistent is their message. They're still together, just not interested in living their relationship on display. Whether that's a smart long-term move or a risky one depends on how much the pressure continues to build. Because in the public eye, silence can protect you, or it can slowly turn into the loudest rumor of all. So where does that leave Nicolandria right now? Not broken up, not performing for cameras, and not playing by the usual reality TV rulebook. Olandria's solo red carpet moments and Nic's quiet presence haven't confirmed an ending. They've highlighted a choice. A decision to protect individuality in a space that constantly demands proof of togetherness. For fans, that can feel unsettling. We're used to announcements, captions, and perfectly timed appearances. But real relationships don't always move on schedule, and they definitely don't owe the internet constant reassurance. Nicolandria might be proving that lasting connections don't need non-stop visibility, just intention. And whether this approach keeps them strong or slowly pulls them apart is something only time will reveal. Because sometimes, the quietest couples are the ones with the most to lose, and the most to protect.